Want to get out of debt? Here's how to use debt to get rich. Why does the concept of debt strike fear into the hearts of a lot of people? Maybe because it is from how the media portrays it. Trying to show folks how hard it is to free themselves from debt commitments is the subject of many movies and television series. But the concept of debt is nothing new for the average American. Over $155,000 in debt is carried by the typical family in the United States. Some of us may have also heard of the saying that debt is the source of all problems, that you should never fall into debt because it is a kind of enslavement. To some degree, it is correct. Debt does get a hold on you because your life is somewhat over once you reach the point where you are submerged in debt. You can't buy anything you want. Sometimes you loan just to pay another loan because no one lends money for free, no one lets you off that easy. Even while you are trying to pay off your obligations, those debts continue accumulating interest and growing even as you continue to pay them. With every loan, there is always an interest involved. This could sound a little bit weird to you, but if you want to get out of debt, you can use debt to get rich instead. To see how anything like debt may be seen positively and used to your advantage, let's look at the ways of the rich and how they manage debts. How do individuals who are already rich and have a lot of money manage to earn even more of it? If you have a large amount of money, you may be wondering why anybody would loan or have debts in the first place, as debts are often utilized by individuals who do not have a lot of money and need more of it. Welcome back, everybody. Or if you're new here, welcome to Finance Bureau, your go-to handbook for anything finances or crypto related. I'm glad you can make it. In this video, I will walk you through how wealthy people use debt to make even more money and how it is possible to use debt to accumulate wealth. So before I get into it, give this video a thumbs up and let's dive right in. I have some uplifting info for you, and I'll say this again. Being in debt isn't necessarily a terrible thing. This viewpoint is not shared by many people due to the fact that a large portion of our debt is bad debt. You undoubtedly have some credit card bills, a vehicle loan, and maybe even some school loan debt. And you're thinking to yourself that it will take me a lifetime to pay all of these obligations. How on earth could anything like that be beneficial? Do you have any idea? So, some of the financial notions that we have been conditioned to think of as evil may in fact be used to assist us in accomplishing our long-term financial goals. This may appear contradictory to some people. One of these is the concept of debt. While it is true that debt could be a bad thing, and although debt is often perceived as a negative thing, it has the potential to be a good one if it is handled in the right way. Depending on how and why you borrow money, it might be beneficial in some circumstances. Can you build wealth with debt? This is what you are here for. Yes, it is quite possible to build wealth using debt in some situations. For example, the vast majority of people who buy homes also take on significant amounts of debt. The National Association of Realtors conducted a poll in 2021 and discovered that 87% of recent purchasers financed their house purchase. Since the value of property usually rises over time, buying a house may typically result in the accumulation of new wealth. Students commonly take on student loans in order to finance their education, and a national think tank called Third Way has shown that the majority of higher education programs provide students a financial return on their educational investment. In the long run, it may be beneficial to your financial situation to take debt to get a bachelor's degree or more. So what exactly is debt? It is a financial obligation to a loan holder or financial institution. This is what is meant when we talk about debt. To put it another way, you take on more debt whenever you take out a loan and are obligated to repay that amount that you borrowed plus interest. On the surface, this arrangement would seem to be a burden, but if managed correctly, debt can be a very useful instrument for achieving a person's financial goals. A negative connotation has been attached to the term debt in recent years. However, the reality is not all forms of debt are inherently harmful. In fact, there are some kinds of debt that may be pretty beneficial. To go even further, good debt is one of the most acceptable methods to start leveraging the power of your money and establishing passive income streams that help you grow actual wealth. This is because good debt allows you to borrow money without having to pay it back immediately. If there was no such thing as debt, very few individuals would be able to call themselves homeowners or put their sizable incomes towards the birth of an empire. Debt and the generation of wealth seem to be at odds with one another. In one sense, you are motivated by a desire to increase your financial standing and accumulate more assets. On the other hand, you may think of your financial constraints in terms of the debt that you owe. The wealthy have figured out how to exploit debt to their benefit. They shouldn't stay in debt for the rest of their lives, but they may use it intelligently to generate wealth. Loans from financial institutions and investments from private individuals are often used to help finance the creation of hotels and other rental assets. In order to get some of the successful businesses off the ground, some entrepreneurs turn to small business loans. We will examine the actions that you can take to ensure that your debt works for you, rather than putting your financial future at risk. First, we must know the difference between a good debt and a bad debt. Have you heard about this already? So, consumers may make more informed decisions about whether or not it makes sense to borrow money if they have a thorough knowledge of the two forms of debt. Debt may be beneficial or harmful depending on various conditions. Some debt can be categorized as either efficient or inefficient. As was said previously, borrowing money may be beneficial if the funds are used in activities leading to more wealth accumulation. For the purpose of purchasing a home, for instance, acquiring debt in the form of a mortgage loan might be a good and productive financial strategy. One of the reasons why house loans are a good and efficient kind of debt is because the value of a residential property tends to rise over the course of time. This is also one of the reasons why people choose to buy homes. When you borrow money under terms and circumstances that are detrimental to your financial well-being, this is referred to as bad debt. Borrowing money and then finding it difficult to meet the required payments is a poor type of debt that may keep you stuck in an endless cycle of debt and financial hardship. Home loans are often helpful and efficient, but mortgages may be problematic if you find yourself in a position where you can no longer handle the monthly payments on the loan. Auto loans may be beneficial while also being inefficient because the value of a vehicle is likely to decrease with time. However, cars can assist commuters in reaching their offices for work. Borrowing money to purchase an item that will increase in value over time is an example of efficient debt, while borrowing money to buy an asset that will decrease in value over time is an example of inefficient debt. Depending on how comfortable you are with taking on debt, these debts may or may not benefit you. For instance, loans, both efficient and inefficient, are beneficial if they help you build wealth and harmful if you are incapable of paying the financial burden they entail. The interest and fees connected with inefficient and bad debt will likely eat up your savings, and your wealth will continue to fall. In some situations, it may be beneficial to prioritize eliminating this debt first, beginning with the loan with the highest interest rate or charge, and then working your way down the list. For example, suppose the interest you are paying on your credit card balance or personal loan is higher than the interest you are paying on your home loan. In that case, it may be more beneficial to pay off your credit card debt first, given that it has higher interest rate and fees than your home loan does. This seems to depend on the details of your situation. If you use this strategy, you should be able to gradually cut down on the amount of interest on your overall interest payments. Do you agree with this strategy so far? Let me know what you think by typing your thoughts in the comment section below. And remember to be respectful about other people's opinions, so we can have a healthy discussion over there. So moving on, the next thing you consider is to eliminate potentially risky debts by consolidating them. A significant number of people carry a variety of credit cards, some of which have pretty high interest rates. Because these debts are not backed by any collateral, a bank views them as having a high level of inherent risk. If you fall behind in your payments, their only option is to contact debt collectors or report the missing payments to the credit bureaus. It will not help you grow wealth to invest all of your money on interest only. You can free up more of the money you currently have in your possession if you consolidate these potentially dangerous debts into a single loan. It is common for debt consolidation loans to have interest rates lower than those of credit cards. Hence, obtaining a new loan may positively assist you with embracing wealth building practices. With that, you must also have better cash flow management. The effective management of cash flow is essential to reducing the amount of bad debt. The primary objective is to lower the total amount of interest paid over the life of the loan. This can be accomplished in several different ways, including increasing the amount spent on a mortgage, increasing the frequency of payments, depositing one's entire salary into an offset account, or making use of an interest-free period on a credit card to pay for day-to-day expenses, thus freeing up other funds for paying off the loan faster. Managing your cash flow effectively to keep track of your revenue and prevent late or missing payments may help you accumulate wealth. You may control the flow of your income in such a manner as to pay off your loan commitments early, which would bring you one step closer to achieving financial independence. How is your cash flow management so far? Feel free to discuss your thoughts below in the comment section. The bottom line is that saying that financial success requires that you become and remain debt-free is false. To explain again, the wealthy often have substantial amounts of debt. However, they have substantial assets to cover all of their debts. The wealthy not only take on more debt, but also profit from it. The rich are well aware that there would be greater competition for the assets they acquire with debt if more people knew how to utilize debt to get rich. On top of that, the self-proclaimed financial gurus all believe they are the brightest bulbs in the room because most individuals aren't savvy enough to utilize debt effectively to accumulate wealth. In their view, debt is negative for most of us, but they give out loans and credit cards to individuals to purchase things like cars, vacations, clothing, TVs, homes, and more. Thus, they contradict themselves by saying getting into debt is terrible and you should stay out of it. But this video tells you that knowing the difference between good debt and bad debt is what separates the wealthy from the poor. You need to go from bad debt to good debt immediately. Credit card debt, auto loan debt, and other bad debt forms can lead to financial difficulties. It's a kind of debt that can be utilized to acquire a liability. Those who preach that all debt is evil profit handsomely by offering such loans to the poor. You can become wealthy by taking on good debt, like a loan to buy an investment property or valuable pieces of business equipment. It's a kind of debt taken out specifically to finance the purchase of tangible assets. This kind of borrowing is often used by the wealthy to purchase assets or fund the production of goods sold to the poor at exorbitant interest rates. The best type of debt is backed by assets that produce enough revenue to cover the interest and principal payments and even produce some profit. This extra cash flow may be invested or used to repay existing debt. Debt may not be the four-letter word we've believed it is, especially after you've had a solid understanding of personal finance and can understand how the system can benefit you. Getting rid of bad debt is crucial before moving on to good debt investments. Your goal is to not be entirely debt-free for good. Instead of falling for the myth that all debt is bad, here in Financial Bureau, we encourage you to start educating yourself about personal finance right now so that you can put good debt to work for you. If you are having trouble where to start, you can check out more of the channel to learn more about stocks, investments, and financial mindsets. Moreover, remember that these are only recommendations, simply a suggestion that you conduct additional research. I strongly urge you to research and to come to your own conclusion regarding your financial management. If you enjoyed this video, I'd appreciate it if you hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to my YouTube channel for more finance and crypto content. Thank you for watching. I'll see you again real soon.